Okay, I like that. Yeah, fantastic.
Had a little bit of money, so the Lord did me good. Got all kind of shit. Got the glow sticks. I got the gotcha bag. Got the Hawaiian punch. Man, everybody won't holler at Pop what you need. I got it. If I ain't got it, I can find it. You understand? I'm selling glow sticks. Glow sticks that go with the yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Kia ora, welcome to the Tim Show. I'm Tim Wera Morrison. Now each week I invite a couple of buddies over to have a bit of a kōrero, we have a bit of a sing-song, and I show them some of my postcards from Hollywood. Ooh, and they're looking pretty flash too. I visit the whānau in New Zealand and around the globe, and I even score some A-listers. Now, this week we've got a Tim Show special, episode 3, involvement of the Kiwis. I'm talking Star Wars. We find out how they make us clones. And I catch up with Rena Owen and talk to the producer, Rick McCullum, and talk to the big guy, George Lucas. So, lightsabers on!
こんにちは。ボンバットファミリーと私たちのライブ放送へようこそ。私たちはあなたの視聴とリスニングの喜びのための素晴らしいショーを持っています。今あなたのホスト、スコッティ・ジェイロとジェリー・ケーブルに Stay Bombad を楽しんで覚えておいてください。
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What's going on, Bombad fam? It's me, your boy, Scotty Jarrow. Super excited to be here. Hope everyone's doing okay tonight. I just came back from seeing Sonic 2, and it was fantastic. Hopefully, any of you that are Sonic fans should go see it. But before we get into our big discussion about something I'm very passionate about and our guest is very passionate about, need to do a couple of things from the top. Of course, we got to talk about plug. If you enjoy tonight's episode, conversation, any little bit of it, you should come back next Thursday and the following Thursdays as well, because we go live every Thursday. That's it, live here, Bombadcast. We always talk about anything Star Wars, anything pop culture related too. Last week, I believe we talked about Morbius and how great it was of a movie. Jerry loved it. I loved it. It was fantastic. I think it was just a fun movie. But also, let's not forget, we also got Bombad Gaming every Wednesday night. I will be covering Lego Star Wars indefinitely until I die, because that game is absolutely incredible. The new game is perfect. Really looking forward to playing some more of it. That is always every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hashtag Bombad Gaming if you enjoy watching it. All that being said, I've got to bring in my sweet co-host, one of the greatest out there, one of the few that I get the chance to talk to every week, and I am lucky to do that. Before I do that, let me crack open a nice cold can of Coke before I have to sit through Jerry talking. Anyway, let's bring him in. Gerry Cable, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Oh, whoa, what was that? Oh, I don't know what's going on here.
That was very weird.
How you doing? Yeah,
Doing fine,
strange,
man. How are
strange
you?
how that works. I'm doing pretty good,
Doing
buddy.
okay?
How you doing tonight? Yeah.
I can't
You know,
complain.
I'm just you know, I wake up on Thursdays and I know no matter what happens during that Thursday, that at the end of the night or at the end of the day, I'm going to be hanging out that night with the viral sensation Scotty J. So, you know,
Wow.
it's all good. It is what it is, you
Wow.
know?
Man, aren't we the lucky
Yeah, I
ones
know.
here? I'm just
Well.
happy to have you here, Gerry. And to say this, we will be at Celebration. Just want to reiterate that. Okay, we maybe have not. We did not
Yes.
get a podcast stage invitation. We sent a request. They denied it, and that's okay. I'm willing to accept any sort of denial, especially in this scenario. But I'm very, very happy to say that. Oh, nice, Holly's. Oh, fantastic.
Hello, Brian and Holly.
Hello. But I wanted to say this
Hello.
real quick. We did get a media badge, a media access. So Gerry and I will be able to do some live updates from the convention itself.
Yes.
We'll be able to send and post videos, reaction videos, instant reaction videos. We'll do thumbnails, all of it.
Mm-hmm. It's
Should
gonna
be a blast. So
it's gonna be insane. Like
Be a real deal.
this was our dream for ever since like the
oh my god,
Celebration when it was in 2020. You know, we were like,
Yeah.
you know, oh, we need to do coverage and stuff like that. And now we like actually will get to like, and I know we're not the most Star Wars newsy show anymore.
No.
You know,
no,
but you know, we still like Star Wars news, and you know what you love is Scotty's reactions, and I'm gonna react too to all of the amazing stuff coming out and stuff. So that's one thing we do really good here.
it's gonna be awesome.
And so you
It's
guys are
be
gonna get our like immediate thoughts and everything, and who knows, maybe those of you who are there, maybe we'll do some meetups or something. Who knows?
I agree. They'll definitely
Also, you might want to look for
giveaways.
some little Scotty clues floating around. Celebration. That's all I'm going to say.
The
That's all I'm
next
gonna say.
couple of months on Twitter are going to be absolutely ridiculous with all the clues I'll be dropping. And then you will be walking around Celebration going, he's been here. And you'll be freaked out. You'll see. All that being said, we've got a very fun topic tonight, something I've been eager to talk about, especially because I have a past with it. I don't know Gerry's experience, anything dealing with this topic, but I want to bring in our guest, Megan. Megan has a wonderful movement she's trying to promote called One Autistic Galaxy, which is going to make, you know, people more aware about autism as a whole. And I'm going to let Megan do her moment. I'll let her have her little moment right here. Before, obviously,
don't let us ruin what she could more eloquently say than us.
Oh yeah, and she will definitely say it more eloquently. So give a warm Bombad welcome to Megan. What's going on, Megan? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you both for having me on here to talk about this.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Well, the second you put a tweet out about, you know, I think, did you mention you wanted to be on shows? You wanted to promote it? I thought, what a great platform.
Not necessarily me. My original idea for it was to just have different shows talk about it on their own. So it wasn't just me. I'm not just the face.
Of course.
Also about everyone else.
Yes. I completely agree. And I'm glad that
because my original idea was to show all forms of autism, not just mine.
Yes, of course. And I think what's interesting too is hopefully this show can get more eyes and more ears on the subject. Because I, for one, I know a good bit about it, but I would like to know more. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the discussion, I want to ask you, okay? So we do this thing with every guest called Best Favorite Most Fun. Now, I know you've got a couple of ideas as to what you have written here, and they're great. I wanted to also ask you, do you have a best favorite most fun movie, TV show, book, anything?
Star Wars. Just Star Wars. Star Wars was my gateway.
All of the above.
Nerddom, and basically, if you saw my room, you'd compare it to a mini, what's it called again? Rancho Obi-Wan.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
Yeah, what you can see behind me doesn't even scratch the surface of what I'm looking at behind.
Half of a fraction of a drop in the bucket.
Books there, picture there, more pictures over there.
Nice.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's the best. It's the best, I guess, brand to buy for, especially when people buy gifts for you or you go out and buy it yourself. It's everywhere. You can't escape it.
How fun is when someone like tries to get you like they know you like Star Wars. They're like, they like Star Wars. So I will get them this R2-D2 toilet plunger holder or something. You know what I mean? Like those random. It's like, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I would have bought this myself, but I'm glad that you bought it for me. Like I had so many of those.
That's
over the
why
years.
when I told my family, like when it comes to my birthday and Christmas, I'm just like Star Wars, and here's the list of like Star Wars stuff I want. And if they buy outside that, like this bracelet my mom got me for my birthday recently.
Oh,
It
fantastic!
just says Star Wars, and then it has BB-8.
Oh,
And
nice.
then, my aunt also got me the Mandalorian poster, which I love.
Oh,
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is a
That's
nice
a
one.
season 2 poster, isn't? Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah, I see
poster.
Ahsoka. Look at that.
Oh,
Yep.
Woo.
And then my
Ahsoka,
parents
Grogu
got
on the
me
scene
the other
still.
one for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Oh man,
That's so
dope.
awesome.
You're dealing with two really big prequel fans, so most of my stuff is all prequel related. I mean, I know Jerry's the same too. Jerry's got some Ghostbusters right now in his background.
I got a lot of Ghostbusters. You can't really see like a lot of my posters and stuff anymore.
I can see
I've kind
the
of got
car.
the camera down.
Yeah.
A little, but like, see, I've got 2 Empire Strikes Back posters. I'm really the one I really love. Here we go. Let's just move the camera around the room there. I really love that one. That one's like really colorful. Anyway.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's
That's
the tour.
awesome.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. Megan, you wrote
too.
this in here on your response to the best, favorite, most fun about a certain Discord you joined. Tell us about that. What is that?
Yeah, basically it's the From a Certain Point of View podcast Discord, and anyone is open to join it. So if I saw Nicole in the chat, so if she wants to drop that Discord in the chat just for anyone else if they want to join.
Heck yeah.
And and there we just get wild and crazy. I'm sure you guys have seen the whole thing between Cam and Adam's mom.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
man.
Yeah. It gets crazy on there. Because we have like a cantina for just whatever, and then we have like a Jedi temple if like you're more religious and you want like please pray for this or please do that, and then we have this not safe for work channel, which tends to get it's called that for a reason.
Not safe for work.
There,
Not safe for work.
No.
yeah,
Not safe.
That's awesome. That's great. So do they ever talk about, anything you've dealt with there? Is it like an emotional support kind of Discord? Like, can it be that?
Basically like one big family there. Basically, it's
Yeah.
become like our found family.
Yeah.
Basically, if you need to vent about something, we have a channel for that. If you just want to hang out, talk about news, we have a channel for that. We basically have a channel for everything where you can do whatever you need to by people that you know are not going to judge you.
Of course. And that's the beauty of Star Wars.
Safe. It's nice to have a place where you can feel at home and safe. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Basically, Adam
key.
from the Certain Point of View podcast host, he created that for that reason, so that Twitter is its own ball of something. And while we met there, Discord is more our safe space to just hang out with each other away from all that chaos.
Of course, and be in a group that's accepting, and it's not going to be randoms popping in your mentions. I get that. That's a stressful thing. We've got our own little form of that in our little group chats that Jerry and I are in. So it's awesome to have that kind of
it's necessary. It's necessary.
Yeah, it is necessary. That's a great way to put it, Jerry. That's awesome. Well, Megan, I want to kind of get into the meat and potatoes if you don't mind. So I wanted to ask you about what it's like, growing up with autism, and of course, how did it lead you to a path in like discovering Star Wars? Like, what did that mean for you? Because it's something I never had to undergo, nothing that Jerry had to undergo, and we always want to bring different perspectives to the space, and people that really don't understand it should get a chance to understand it. So I don't know if you don't mind, could you share your thoughts on it?
Sure. Growing up with autism, I was born in the early 90s, so I grew up mainly during the mid to late 90s, and then after, obviously.
Yeah.
And so back then, autism was like in its infancy and just getting started. And so since people didn't really understand it or were just starting to, it was like, what do we do with this kid? Because it's like, it was also like, am I on the spectrum or am I not on the spectrum? Since I could take care of tasks on a daily basis, like take care of myself. But at the same time, I also had problems with, like say social cues and learning stuff. It's like, it took me a lot longer to learn everything. So as most students were ready to move on the next day, for me, I would have preferred like at least a week on each topic, which, of course, in our normal school system is not possible.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, that is not
Which
unless
is
you go, at least for high school, unless you go for something that's more a certificate than a high school diploma. And with that, you can't go
Yes.
to college. So it was like, what do? I was just left floundering. No one,
yeah.
it's like at that time, I didn't even know what I needed. It wasn't until my late
Yeah.
college years that I was like, oh, that's what I needed, more time.
Accommodations, literally, like
Yeah,
anything,
I mean, they
something
tried-
as small, like as small as having a test at the time to take a test longer, like
Extra
30
time, yeah.
extra minutes will make a difference in a grade, like a huge difference for kids
Well,
that deal with
no,
it.
they
Truly.
offered me that. They did give me accommodations. It wasn't what I needed, because when it came time for
Oh.
a test, I hadn't even understood like most of the material. So it's like,
Yeah.
unless I was specifically allowed to use notes or something, which I didn't think I could ask for,
Yeah.
I was just on my own. It was just, here's a test. Good luck.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost
I'm
like
glad
you had to
see-
discover all of it on your own, right? Like
On-
just kind of
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, on
Mhm.
testing, literally. Yeah, I'm happy to know that in most school systems now there are ways to have students that deal with that work around it. Right. I'm a middle school teacher. I teach 7th and 8th grade science, and some kids need that extra time, and some kids also need just a little bit more help. I mean, like, I wish I could spend more time with kids, and maybe one day there'll be a system that works best for everyone. But that's something I don't understand, but I'm sorry, I'd have never experienced, but I can definitely understand how it's difficult. And that's a pretty big thing to have to encounter, growing
Yeah,
up and not
because-
realizing what it is,
Yeah, because again,
Right.
while I was given a voice to speak up for myself, I wasn't sure how to do that or what specifically to ask for, because I was just so bombarded and overwhelmed with schoolwork and homework that I didn't even have a chance to catch a breath and think. And even
Sure.
during the summer when there wasn't any school, I was just trying to recover from the school year. So it was like I never really had a chance until I was towards the end of college to realize, oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah, what was that epiphany moment like for you?
Basically, it was my second to last semester in college, and I want to say it was towards the end of the semester. I can't remember if I taken any finals yet or not, but either way, I was just walking from a class I just finished to the library, and something just hit me. It was like, oh, that would have been nice, extra time, and if possible, maybe even my own like support tutor or something.
Sure, of
'Cause it's
course.
like-
Right.
Because yes, they had tutors for different things, like free tutors, but you were competing with other students for that. So
Yeah.
Right.
None of it's easy. And kind of speaking to this, after that epiphany, I mean, I know, was it something you were diagnosed with when you were younger, or was it something that kind of happened later, that diagnosis or that realization of it?
well, first I was diagnosed with Tourette and then ADD, and it wasn't until probably around late middle school, early high school that I was officially diagnosed with what's called Asperger's. I think that's now been changed now to something
Yeah.
else, but that's what I know it as.
Of course. And that's what you grew up kind of identifying
Right.
with.
Yeah, so it's like whenever a doctor or something asks if I have any conditions or anything, I say Asperger's, and then they can just write down however it's now termed, because no one else has bothered to tell me different.
Yeah, and the thing about autism too, and for a while, I think it was like 6 months, I was a BCBA, and I worked with kids that had autism at an autism center. And of course, there are different levels. Obviously it's a spectrum based, I guess. I wouldn't say disorder. What would be the correct term to use? Because I feel like disorder is, I would say it's almost kind of disrespectful. I don't know. Is that what you would say?
What I've been told with Asperger's, that's Asperger's syndrome.
Mhm.
Syndrome. Okay.
That's like the full technical name as far as I know. So
Yeah. Because a lot of this, for people that have never approached this subject, really don't know obviously what it's like, but they also don't know the correct terminology to use. And like when I was working at that center for people with autism, I realized, what was at least for me personally, what was like the right phrases to use and what was correct. And I never have considered, how important that is,
Yeah, and it's
and
like
what
I've
that
even
means to the
heard.
people.
Yeah, and it's like I've even heard people correcting me, like, don't say higher or lower functioning, say this or that. And I'm like, well, I'm technically a writer and I talk. So it's like, how else can I use to describe it? It's like, if you have something else to give me another way, then sure, I'll use that. But until I have that other way, what else am I supposed to use?
Of course. And, yeah, Jay, what were you going to say, bud?
Well, as you say, one term that I've heard, like, and again, so I have ADHD, but I think that I've heard this term, and you could please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'd heard the term neurodivergent, as a term that people are using, because that's a term I like. You get neurodivergent and neurotypical.
Either neurodivergent or neurotypical or neuroatypical. One of those three, depending upon what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. That's something I never considered. I like those phrases because they're less harsh,
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much terminology for something that like this has changed in just the past 10 years alone. Like, I mean, I had kids use awful words when I was growing up, and like, and I teach middle school kids now, and none of them use those words. And I'm just thankful that the culture and the, actual terminology has changed so much. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, because it's like pre-COVID. When I watch the news, occasionally I'd see a report on like autistic kids and like the school coming around like to help them, to give them this or that. And I'm like, yes, I'm glad and I'm excited and I'm happy for them. But at the same time, I can't help be sad for when I was that age. It's like I was on my own, because one of the things I know I put in the notes was even for grad night at Disneyland, I was ditched. And you'll never guess on what ride.
Really? What was it?
Pinocchio. Disney, the ride that has Disney's theme song. When you wish upon a star. Yeah.
Right.
It's like they all got into one car. I got into one behind them on my own. By the time I got off, they were gone.
Damn.
Man.
Yeah, that's the thing. People have honestly changed a lot. And I hope you see that difference, because when I was learning all this, when I was a BCBA and as a teacher, I mean, you do all kinds of accommodation reports. You do all things that like you got to be aware of this kind of thing, and it's new for a lot of people. Some people still are really bad at adapting to how to address this stuff. And really the whole main point of this discussion this evening was to kind of address, what it's like to be you in a fandom like this. And I kind of wanted to go back to what you wrote, talking about, how to socialize with this. What was that like for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Before I got into Star Wars, I was more into Disney, like as a whole. And so I was just off in my own world doing my own thing. It wasn't until I discovered Star Wars in like my college years that I slowly started finding a group. And like I said, eventually I found family. And from an autistic point of view, that I really started being accepted. And for the first time in my life, felt like I could say what I want and do what I want without fear of being judged.
Of course. And that's a big thing, right? And like your blog, I've read it before. It's very well written, and you're very, very passionate in your writing, and it's very personal. I mean, that's a hard thing. It's kind of like having a diary anyone has access to. And I know a lot of it you probably have to restrain yourself from really diving into it on your blog. And I commend you for doing it.
With my blog, I just don't really care what other people think. If they want to flame me, cool, I'll use those to make
awesome.
s'mores.
Yeah.
Well, like
if anyone wants to support me and tell their stories, then good for them.
Yes, you are inspiring people.
People appreciate openness. They appreciate honesty and stuff like that. And if you're a person who can put yourself out there like that, it really does help other people. Like it helps them who might feel the same way, or who have the same, or neurodivergent like you. Anyway, it's a very good thing, because I know it's helped me again, like, being ADHD and all that. Like it helps to see other people kind of struggling with the same things you struggle with.
Yeah, because it's like, say I'm just relaxing in bed, or I'm pulling off after a workout or something, and I'm just watching YouTube. That's one of the things I love to see, is people being real and being themselves.
Yes.
I mean, yes, I'll enjoy watching like scripted content, no problem, but
of course,
at least for me, there's just as much fun to be had in people like being real and sharing real stories of their lives.
Of course. Do you have anything you want to share with us tonight? Like anything that maybe you experienced that you can bestow your wisdom on, or anything you want to share that kind of, you experience, not just Star Wars related, but anything. I mean, is there anything else you want to share about that?
Basically just that, like we touched on before, autism is a spectrum, and in that it's not just about being like on this part of the spectrum or that part of the spectrum. It's also about like attitudes, like with your neurotypical individual. Like say I'm what I've come to term as an autistic rather than an intellectual autistic. So that means I'm more like into the arts, reading, writing, creating, that kind of thing, vice the intellectual pursuits like math, science, and whatever.
Sure.
Because that's actually, while before I was doing my blog just because I want to, because I enjoyed writing, it wasn't until probably about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now that I really started diving into my blog with the idea to focus on more of the autistic side that doesn't get as much like interest. Because one show that comes to mind is ABC's The Good Doctor. Yes, it features an autistic individual, but he also has savant syndrome, which means he's super smart. I don't have that, so I want to highlight again, like I said, that there are different types. That it's not just one thing, one form of autism.
Of course.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Because, I mean, and all these things do manifest different ways. Like, I know with Gerry's ADHD, I mean, it manifests like there'll be times where you truly hyper focus on something and that's all you can focus on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think ADHD is kind of like, I'm not as well read and everything like that, but like, it's kind of like on a spectrum too, but not, but yeah, like I'll have, moments like, where I'll be like all in on something and, I can like be like the best person at whatever, that thing is, know everything about that thing. And then, I don't know why I'm getting blurry. I think I put my hand too close to the screen. So, there we go. But, and then I'll have like days like, today Scotty called me before the show and I like, emotionally vomited on him, it's just because that's, that's kind of a thing, that's just, it is what it is. So,
but it's funny. Oh, what were we going to say, Megan? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. That's like, I can be the same way, especially when I was in middle school. It's like, I feel like I had to have this compulsion to go home and watch a show that came on at 3 to the detriment of everything else that was happening at school. It's like I could be offered a chance to stay after to complete this project or that project, but in my mind, I was like, no, I have to get home for this. Or it's like, even now, it's like I can be hyper focused on one task and realize, I gotta go. I'm late.
Yeah, of course.
Because
Nicole,
sadly, sorry.
No. You go ahead. I interrupted. Yeah. Go ahead.
Because what I was going to say was, sadly, the amount of times that has gotten me into trouble, not just with like being late for things, but it's like forgetting to do something, forgetting to put this away or do that or put this in the wash or.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to work on that every day, but again, it's a struggle.
Megan, I don't know if you can identify with this situation either, but have you ever had it where just you're reminding me right there, like, have you ever like been like scrolling on your phone or watching videos or something and you like inside your head, you were like screaming at yourself, you got to do the thing, you got to do the thing kind of a thing. Like, I feel like that's like, is that like because that's a constant thing for me.
You described my daily life.
Right. You see, and it's like, it's, I think people don't realize, like, I think to a lot of people on the outside who may not have, well, let's use the terms we were talking about, neurotypical and neurodivergent, they're great terms, but, a neurotypical person can look at a neurodivergent person just like scrolling on their phone and go like, why are they like, they're being so lazy? Like, why are they not like getting up and doing the thing they need to do? And inside you were like screaming like, get up, get up, please get up right now. and take out the trash, you stupid little punk, like it's just anyway, it's crazy, but and I don't know if that's my experience.
Yeah,
So.
because picture it this way, there are times where it's like I start work late because I do something that's called respite care, which means I help take care of kids with special needs in their homes so that mom, dad, or other caregiver can either go out and run errands on their own, do what they need to on their own, or even if they just want to stay home and just say, give me 2-3 hours away from my kids so I can just be myself. Okay, that's where I come in. And so with that, I basically get to create my own schedule with my clients, with my families. And so due to that, there are some days where I start later. And because of that, I allow myself to sleep in, start scrolling on my phone. But it's like, I need to get up and work out. I need to get up and do my laundry. I need to clean the bathroom. Nope. An hour later, still scrolling.
Yep.
I was going to bring up, sometimes it's important to have an escape from the mundane things in life. And like
Absolutely.
a lot of what we do here, for us personally, Gerry and I personally, and for the people that want to view and hang out and watch this, I think it's important to have an outlet to do that with. And, for a lot of us, Star Wars is that outlet. And I was going to kind of lead into the next topic because, as much as we can spread awareness for something that people have little understanding of, I think, people obviously want to hear the Star Wars portion of this and maybe how you experience Star Wars a little bit differently, Megan. I just wanted to bring in that kind of idea to it. So if you don't mind, maybe speaking to that, what has it been like to do to experience Star Wars with something that, is so personal to you, right?
Yeah, basically, like I said before, Star Wars, originally I was brought into Star Wars as an adult, even though I had grown up with Star Tours The Ride. Because growing up, I thought Star Tours, like The Ride at Disneyland, was all there is. It wasn't until an adult and I was introduced to all 6 movies, because that's all there was at the time. This was before Force Awakens / Jedi Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was only once I was introduced to those first 6 movies, I was like, oh, this is my love. This is my passion. I need to learn more. And ever since then, I was just gone. That's basically where my money went, and anything I could find online, be it like a Star Wars fan group or an individual that likes Star Wars to talk about, or it's like, say, even if I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt and someone comments it, as I'm grocery shopping or doing this or that, yeah, I'd love to stop and talk to them about it for a few minutes.
Of course. Yeah, and it unifies so many people, all different age groups and all different belief systems. I mean, Star Wars is one of the best things in the world for that reason alone, and has writing that blog kind of helped you find more people that, love Star Wars and, they also, are people with autism?
Yeah. Well, not many people outside of what's now like become our Red 5 network have commented on that. I mean, there have been a few, and it's like I've interacted with them, but that's ultimately my goal, is to grow it outside of the Red 5 network so I can talk to other people about not just Star Wars and my point of view on it as an autistic, but also just autism in general. And again, continuing to show that it's like there's more than one form. There's not just the intellectual autistic, there's also the artistic autistic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a lot of it does come down to, your preference for what you want to discuss and your preference for what you want to view and talk about. Like, Gerry and I, we primarily focus on the prequels just because that's what we love to talk about, but it could be different for you. You could experience things differently than, things I would experience. We can have a shared experience, but what you interpret might be very different than what I interpret. And that's kind of the beauty of Star Wars in general, and I'm very glad to kind of have this perspective and, see what you feel. Have you been happy with all the new Star Wars stuff recently?
Yes, it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. I've just been like, bring it on, give me more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Especially from when they announced season 7 of the Clone Wars to the Bad Batch, and now we're getting ready. Well, we were originally getting ready to roll into season 2 of Bad Batch, but point being is I'm still looking forward to all that Star Wars. If it's Star Wars, bring it on, give me more.
Yes. Big animation fan?
Yes, because if my memory serves, I came in around the time of, I want to say mid-season 1 of Rebels.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
nice. 2014. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means at the time I was mixing Rebels in with Clone Wars and just binging both.
Mhm.
Oh, good time.
That's
Yeah,
a
we
yeah,
were
that's a
people.
fantastic time.
Netflix Clone Wars. There were days, y'all,
Woo.
where I would just spin laying on the couch and like, some of those arcs in season 1 and 2, you're like, this is just not my cup of tea. At least for me personally, there were some really wacky ones, but like, it's just, I don't know. I have very fond memories. I'm sure both of you as well do, just scrolling through Netflix at the time.
Yeah,
Netflix
because
has judged me many a time. Yeah. Like, are you still watching? Are you still watching? Okay, all right.
Put it
I think
this
you should
way,
get a
there's
life,
a
but
reason
whatever.
why I'm glad my TV comes with a sleep timer. Set that way. I can be like,
Yes.
okay, I can pass out with it and it'll shut off on its own.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I love Disney Plus for that reason. Like it's been so nice to just like, and like you said, the mundane things. Star Wars makes it a lot more fun and easier if you could put something on for it, right? And so I was gonna say, like anything I do now, dishes, I will flip on Resistance or I'll put on Solo, I'll put on a movie and just,
Yeah.
while I'm getting stuff done, I hear it in the background. I'm quoting it to myself. It's really nice. And I agree. Rebels is one of those shows that like, and we had Andy.
Andy came on a couple weeks ago, right? We
Force
talked
Friends
about
rewatch.
Agent
Mhm.
Callus. Yes, a Force Friends rewatch. Check them out. But yeah, they were just gushing about Callus and everything. We had like such a great conversation, and like I remember watching those episodes before, and I mean, like Rebels is you forget how good Rebels is.
Yes.
Like you don't forget, but you forget. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So anyway, yeah. Anyway, go back and check that episode out. But yeah, Rebels is it was such a fun time. If I may, I want to bring up this comment right here from Brian Halfmoth. To work as a caregiver is as heroic as, say, a firefighter. It requires such passionate, emotional, and in some cases physical support. I deeply admire people who can do that, and I feel like that needed to be pulled up on screen. So yeah, that's
beautiful.
Good job.
Yeah, because
Megan, you're making a difference.
Yeah, because if I can speak on that, especially being an autistic caregiver, it's like figuring out for me when to say yes, but also when to say no, so you can think about not just the clients and the families you're working with, but also your own mental health. So it's not just constantly working. Because yes, I want to help out, but at the same time, I also have to know when to be, I guess you could say, selfish and take my own like mental day, even if it's only one day.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what's funny?
Absolutely.
I was going to say this too. I think as a generation, or even as a group of people nowadays, I think people are acknowledging their mental health a lot more, right? Because a lot of what we've seen the past 20 years has been kind of a revolution of that. Like I remember, and I've heard this from my family, like, the late 90s, even, and Gerry, you could speak to this. Like if you were an older person and you were experiencing any mental crisis, it was almost like something that they would make fun of you for, nowadays.
Just pull you up by your boots, pull up by your bootstraps, and then you're like, what's wrong with me?
Suck it up, buttercup, move on.
Yeah.
And there are still a lot of people like that. That's what I'll say. Like we are like society is starting to move towards that, but there's still a long way to go. That's why things like One Autistic Galaxy and things like this, are good things to get out there and say, look, this stuff is normal. It's fine. You're not bad. Let's not
acknowledge it.
Broken. It's just your brain works different. Your brain's wired a little different.
Yeah, and it's like even if you aren't the type to reach out for help, sometimes just finding that outlet for like your stress and anxiety and whatever you're dealing with, be it writing, or it could even be working out or a specific kind of workout like running, swimming, biking, boxing, whatever you need to do, whatever helps you deal with your own mental health.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And like if it's watching, Clone Wars again, if it's doing any of that, as long as it helps you and helps you process your life and the things that make it difficult, I mean, that's essential, like, and I'm thankful, like, a lot of what we experience now, mostly for a lot of people, I would think, and hopefully for most people in this world, it's that it's out of joy and it's something that you want to experience and something that you want to do, like this podcast. Like I look forward to this every Thursday night. This is really, for me personally, a mental health thing. If I didn't have a chance to talk about this stuff, it would be in my brain all week and I wouldn't know what to do. And like to address somewhat serious topics like this, to address difficult topics for those that don't want to address it. So when they get in a scenario where they talk to someone with autism or they learn about what autism is, like this is kind of a how would you say, like your appetizer. Like, here you go. This is what you need to know to be able to be educated enough to kind of get through a conversation. Like I needed this for me.
Yeah, or it's like, even here's your Cliff Notes version, and then here's where you can go for more information, even if that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's so well put, because a lot of what this is, you know, obviously the Star Wars, it's intense here. Like I wouldn't direct any casual fan of Star Wars to us. I would say get started somewhere else, and then when you're knee deep in it, now you can dive headfirst into Bombadcast.
Then you got to steep yourself in the really weird stuff in Star Wars before you come in here, and then you really got to steep yourself in the weird side of YouTube and TikTok, and then come in here. No, I'm just kidding. You're all welcome, and I have buddies from work who have watched before. Hi, if you're watching, you know it's fine.
But I agree.
Yeah, because put it to you this way, one of the families I work with has a kid that's just now getting into Star Wars. So I'm like, okay, where do I start you? Where do you go? Yeah. Where do you want to go? Mm-hmm. This is going to be fun.
Heck yeah. Have you decided, have you made your mind up what you want to do? Are you thinking prequels first?
Well, for them, they're kind of on the younger side. So I'm starting them off with just the original series.
Nice.
Started with the original series, and then later down the road, they can watch the sequels, and then go further than there.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it's nice too as well. Like, you know, when you're not a part of this family, like my fiance, when we first started dating 7 years ago, she had never watched a Star Wars. You know what I mean? And like, it's such a weird thing to have to kind of explain. Like, here's all this stuff I love. And you're sitting there, you're like, and I hope you love it too. Like, I won't know. You won't know until they experience it. Yeah. And like, thankfully, it was good for me, and it was good for her. She liked it. So like, having to introduce someone like that. I know Gerry has a daughter, Eleanor, who's she's 4 or 5 now. Gerry, I think 5.
Gonna be 5 next week.
So wow. Yeah. Okay. So have you taken the plunge yet, or no? I mean, I know there's some things you've done slowly.
We watched the Phantom Menace over a couple of nights. That was the first one she watched all the way through.
Nice.
She hasn't wanted to watch another one yet, but she liked that one, and she loved the pod racing scene. She loved the pod racing at like the whole sequence. The next day, in fact, she wanted to draw her pod racer and stuff. And so I drew a version of her pod racer that I have, and then she drew like her version, which was really cool.
And then watch how this Halloween, she's like, Daddy, build me one. And then you build her one out of cardboard.
Like, well, I've always been good at fixing things. So if I can give a real quick shout out, I mentioned my work friends in here. Hi, Justin.
There he is.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for stopping in, JT. All right.
Oh, that's incredible. That's a great. Andy said you need a little bit of funk on you before you drink the Bombad juice.
They ain't wrong. That's all I'll say.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So real quick, you know, I wanted to kind of focus on the movement that you have really made a point to make your social media presence, but also make it a thing to have more people aware. Your movement called One Autistic Galaxy. And Megan, you had written a bunch of beautiful things. I'm gonna let you read. So, like, what does it mean to represent a One Autistic Galaxy? What does that mean?
Well, basically, like I put in the notes, if anyone else wants to take over as the face of it, go for it, since I'm more behind the scenes background actor type. But since I'm the one that started it, what it means to me is just that, again, like I touched on before, that there's more than just one type. Because the idea was actually thought of as I was working late one night. And by late, I mean past midnight. So kid had already gone to sleep. So I was just on my own doing my own thing. And I was just thinking about random things. The idea came into my head. I wrote it down. And since I was still thinking about it the next morning, I threw it out to my friends over on on Discord.
Yeah.
And since they liked it, from there I threw it out on Twitter, and then it just grown more than I could believe.
But it's important. What I was going to say is it's nice when you have those support angles and those, those people that are going to be there for you to do that. And it's a voice that needs to be heard, right?
Yeah, because that's also you touched on my blog before, and that's originally what I started it as, was to bring awareness again to different types of autism. And so that's just what I started on. And then, like I said, over time it just grew, and now I came up with the idea for this movement. So just see where it goes from here. If anyone else wants to pitch in and help out and do anything else with autism and Star Wars or anything else, feel free to use this hashtag and just run with it.
Yeah, of course. And I know a lot of it probably has to do with, like get people interested in the idea, of course. And I know it's Autism Awareness Month, April. But a lot of it does come down to the fact that, like, you never know who you'll meet through making this hashtag, right? I mean, you'll make all kinds of friends and people that want to hear your points of view for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the funny thing is, when I first tossed it out there, I had no idea what I wanted to do with it. All I knew was that it was like 2 months before April, which I knew was Autism Awareness and more importantly, Acceptance Month. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, what can I do with this? I know I want to do something with it, but what?
Right.
And it took me the longest time just to come up with the name. And once I came up with the name, again, it was back to the idea of what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's seriously that, and once you figure out, like, if like One Autistic Galaxy is fantastic. It's such a good it's such a good name for this movement and things like that. And so I think you did very well in that department. I'm just saying. You don't need me to say that, but I'm just saying that, like, I think you did very good, and you're I'm glad that it's getting around and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I went through a lot of different names before I landed on this one.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I know I want something like United, but not the word United. One, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
okay,
singular.
Then something with autism, autistic. Okay, that's good. But then, how do I bring Star Wars into it? Is it Galaxy?
Yeah.
Is it Parsec? Or is it this? Or is it that?
Yeah.
And
Which Star Wars word should I
playing around with it
use?
for like a few hours? Eventually, I landed on One Autistic Galaxy, and there you go. That's the name. Running with it.
Well, it says so much without saying a lot. It says it's unifying, number one. It also kind of, and to me, when you had tweeted about it, and Brian Finney was one of the first people I know. He's a big fan of our show.
Yes.
He actually
Brian's here every night. He's a regular.
Brian's a regular. He got his Bombadcast shirt last week because he had won it. And so Brian's like, hey, you should really get this person on your show. And thank God for Brian for that reason. We got Megan on. But the reason I'm saying that is because I believe he has a daughter with autism, and he wanted to make this more aware for other people as well. And a lot of this does come down to the fact that, like, you've got to address this topic, right? And using the word Autistic Galaxy, like using that phrase, like it got my brain going. Like, what does that mean? How do I interpret that versus how does the creator interpret that? And I'm glad you kind of had a moment to reflect on that. That's a pretty powerful thing, Megan.
Yeah, because the funny thing is, I may be a writer, but I suck with coming up with names. So it's like every time I have to come up with a name for something, I either go online or it takes me hours to do it on my own. And I just play with everything I can until something finally fits.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to have to do.
You did fantastic with this one, seriously. Yeah. So
yeah. Thank you.
I tend to have a bunch of names that are cool and no ideas behind them.
Yes.
So it's basically like Prestige Worldwide from
Step Brothers.
From Step Brothers, yeah. Prestige Worldwide. But anyway,
what does it even mean? But it's funny,
right?
I want to say
put liquid paper on a beat. Sorry,
Bombadcast.
I'm spiraling. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry.
No, Bombadcast was one of those weird names when we named our podcast. It was all Gerry, and he's like, "Hey, I was watching this episode of Clone Wars, Bombad Jedi," and he was like, what if we did Bombadcast because we love the prequels, and like I'm the kind of person that, like, I want to sit and think about it, but when it's a good idea when you're like, that's it. I'm sure One Autistic Galaxy was one of the ones you were like, oh, that's it. Like I found it. This is what we need.
Yeah, I mean, once I came up with that, I still had a few other ideas I was playing with, but I just kept coming back to One Autistic Galaxy, and so eventually I was just like, okay, I guess that's it. Since I keep coming back to it.
Yep. And if it doesn't leave your mind, then I think you found the right thing. But
Right.
to kind of wrap up this whole discussion, Megan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. But I want to say
Thank you,
one
Megan.
thing. I wanted to bring this up because I find this to be important. And at Bombadcast, we really want to bring in representation, whatever community you belong to. Okay. It could be the LGBTQ plus community. It could be the community that has people with autism in it. It could be anything, you name it. I wanted to bring up the fact that there are certain characters in Star Wars that are obviously there to represent a certain group, or if not there to represent a certain group, that certain group gravitates towards that person, right? Like, there's a lot of people, obviously, and this is just a bad example, but it's the first one that came to mind. Jar Jar obviously hated. People gravitated towards Jar Jar. The people that hated the prequels did that. But now you're seeing, and literally I could pull up an image, a renaissance of this character. I mean, he is our logo, and no one comments or makes fun of that for that reason. Like, I mean, look at this man, this Ahmed Best, who had been on the verge of committing suicide for this character and his role playing this character, has seen a resurgence. And like, I think certain groups identify with certain characters. And I wanted to ask you, because I've never considered this in Star Wars, and I probably should have. Is there a character that best represents someone with autism, or maybe anything dealing with autism? What do you think?
Well, the first character that comes to mind for me with autism, besides Jar Jar, because Jar Jar was me when I was younger.
Yes.
But
I think everyone hated Jar Jar because Jar Jar was too much like what we really were. We want to be Luke Skywalker, but we're all really Jar Jar Binks. That's all.
Yes.
Sorry,
yes,
Megan. Please continue.
Yeah, no, not a problem. But also, another character I identified with was Kazuda Xiono when Resistance was out. Because as that was airing, I was like, yes, that I do the exact same thing in his position. Yep, that's me, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Why is that? Why was that
Just
the first person that came to
it
your
seemed
mind?
like, at least in the first season, like he was just bumbling through everything. Like, I don't know how to do this. I'm supposed to know how to do this. I was just dropped in help.
Yeah. Well, he's frantic a lot of the time too. Like, he's very clumsy. He's frantic. But he really tries to pretend like he's got it all together. And I can see what you're saying now. Like, I can see, because like that's something at least I've noticed with my ADHD is like, you're trying your hardest. Your brain's working really hard to make sure you're not like offending someone with your. For me, I'm like, I don't want to like, my ADHD to get out of here. And it feels like I'm pretending sometimes, and he's like pretending like he's got it all together when he obviously doesn't. It all works out in the end, because it always does. But I don't know if that's where you were going with that, Megan, but that you inspired that for me. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is where I was going with that. Was that it's like I may look like most days like I have everything together, but then there are some days where it's just like, nope, everything's everything's lost. Just basically like one of those days over before it begins kind of day.
Right. Literally, there's some of those mornings when you wake up and this is gonna be a long ass day. Like, there's some mornings where you're just like this. I think Kazuto probably did have those days too. I completely agree. You also mentioned, I thought this was interesting, Anakin in your notes. Why Anakin? That's interesting to me.
Yeah, more because like the obsession side and like possessive side.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, like,
you are revealing
one
stuff.
thing. It's like I need to have this. I need to have it to the like failure of everything else. And it's like it doesn't necessarily need to be a person. It could be like a show or a movie or something else, because I want to say that's the reason why like I'm still a part of Star Wars. It's because like I'm so, I guess you could say, obsessive with it. I just want to know more. I need to know more. Give me more.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's so much now, and on most of it's really beautiful stuff. And like, who doesn't want to be around things that make them happy, right? I mean, I don't think people live, but to me personally, I don't think people live in a day and age anymore where like they gravitate towards things that make them angry. Or if they do, then that's not the best way to live, obviously. If you have things that make you happy,
some people do.
We're gonna say, well, some people definitely do. Like some people make money doing it.
Have you been on Twitter.com? Have you been on Twitter.com? There's a few. There's this many. There's this many.
A little bit. But man, I've absolutely had a blast with this conversation. And before we kind of
Yes.
round up the discussions, before I let Gerry plug what he wants to plug, and before I let you plug what you want to plug, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, Megan, thank you so much, because this is something I needed. This is something that maybe our listeners needed. I'm glad I reached out to you when I did, because we had nothing planned for Thursday. And when I reached out to you, I think on last week, I was like, let's do something impactful. Because celebration's coming up. I want to get all the seriousness stuff done, because I know the second celebration stuff starts dropping, it's going to get goofy, it's going to get fun, it's going to get weird. But I genuinely cannot thank you enough, Megan, and I mean that. Thank you so much.
I can't genuinely thank you enough for having me on here and allowing me to talk about this, because
of course,
from the time I started my blog until now, I never thought I'd be able to do something like this and have this type of platform. So to now be able to do it, it's just like, wow, I'm amazed. And
you're doing it.
If I wasn't still talking, I'd say I was speechless.
I get it.
We tell ourselves every day, Scotty and I both, like, why are we're doing this? What in the world is going on? Why are we doing this? But we love it and stuff. So
we do love it. And we love when we can get an interesting perspective in here, because not enough people talk about this in this capacity. And Megan, if you don't mind, plug anything you want to plug here, even if you want to plug the Discord that you belong to, whatever, plug it. Because I want people to be more aware of you and who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah, sure. My Twitter for autism awareness and acceptance and all that is at FAAPOV, which stands for my blog, from an autistic point of view. And then if you want to connect with me on more Star Wars, the Twitter I use for that is at, At nerd. What? Great. I can't even think of my own Twitter
it's
right
okay.
now. My mind's just racing.
You're good.
I have the same problem. I forget my handle all the time. I mean that.
Yeah,
I had someone ask me what my handle was
nerdy
the other day.
Is at nerdy variant.
At nerdy variant.
Okay.
Yeah.
At
so
nerdy variant. Okay, cool.
For me for more like nerd stuff, that's what it is. And then I said my one for more autism stuff. And that's why I'm trying to keep the two separate. And then if you want to follow me on my blog, when I plan to start that up again, hopefully soon, that's, like I said, from an autistic point of view, search WordPress on there for that.
Okay, perfect. Man, those are fantastic plugs. And always, if you've got anything you ever want to come on and say here, if you want to get people donating to a certain charity, just always reach out to us. We'll never say no. And that kind of leads us to our next thing. Gerry, if you don't mind plugging what you've been wanting to plug. I'm sorry that it's been in and out of us doing it. But Gerry, plug the Amidala.
It's fine. So those of you who watch the show week to week, you know that we've been trying to plug this a lot more. The Amidala Initiative. There you go. Got some lovely art here. Look at this. So we are one of 77 Star Wars fan creators and shows, whatever you want to call it. But it's a collaborative community effort to raise money for Equality Texas. There's a lot of anti-trans laws and things going on out there. They're targeting trans youth and their families. And the Amidala Initiative is just trying to raise money to kind of help out with that cause. So go follow the Amidala Initiative. They have fantastic merch. Like they have like a fantastic Padme sticker, like Queen Amidala sticker. It's these colors, the trans flag, and it is, oh man, I'm gonna have to get one eventually, just because they have fantastic merch. So go check out their page. They're at Amidala Helps. Thank you guys. Thank you, Megan, for coming on.
Megan, we have to baptize you by the Bombad fire. We have to baptize you the Bombad fire.
Yes.
Give me 1 second. There is a video we play for every one of our guests just to see the reactions. And Megan, let me show you a little commercial made by the lead singer of Kiss, Paul Stanley.
This is your wake-up call. Time to reach, go for it all. Culture stirs inside of me, and I know what that I can be. The limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Oh, thank God for Paul Stanley.
Paul Stanley working at a circus. Is he the ringleader? I don't know if he's like the ringleader.
I don't know what he's got the
like,
coffee though.
He's just wearing like a nice white shirt, nice sensible white shirt, black pants, and then he disappears.
It's
at
the
the
way
end, so
he
it's a
walks.
magic show. I'm not sure what.
It's the way he walks. He like does that walk where you like, Jerry, pull me big. It's the walk.
Okay, hold on.
When you cross your legs for some reason, he's like, "This is your wake up call."
Oh yeah.
Like,
he does.
I don't know why he's doing that. It always makes me laugh.
Man.
But Megan, now that you've been baptized by Bombad Fire, I hope
Yes.
everyone enjoyed this wonderful show. And Megan, we have This Is Great, Trey.
Hold on. Trey,
May.
thank you for a super chat. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you
man.
so
Thank you,
much,
Trey.
Trey. Thank you.
You are Bombad.
So, Megan, we usually give our guest of honor to say our ending phrase, and that ending phrase is "Stay Bombad." So, Megan, if you don't mind, before we give it to the Pizza Time players, Chuck E. Cheese's very own band, can you please give us a great "Stay Bombad" to close out tonight's show?
Sure. Stay Bombad.
Fantastic. Everyone have a good one. We'll see you soon. And
Bye.
bye.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share. What is it?
Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world where nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
Really feeling these Chucky vocals tonight.
With not enough to eat, who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? Alzheimer's disregard, a broken bottle top,
And a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer.
if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
come on, change. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Time for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long. See you in a little bit.